All right, good afternoon. I am referee Brian Nicholas with the Macomb County Family Court, and we're here this afternoon on the case of Abercrombie versus Reed, case number 2019-1638 DC. And ma'am, could you please state your name for the record?
Holly Reed.
All right, and sir, your name for the record?
Stephen Abercrombie.
All right, I want to thank everybody for appearing via Zoom today. Please realize that even though you're remote, this is a legal proceeding, just as if you guys were all here and present in the courtroom. Mr. Abercrombie or Ms. Reed, any questions regarding that this in fact is a legal proceeding today?
No.
No.
All right, okay, and ma'am, we are here today on your motion, and although the motion looks like is blank, let me see here. Even though your motions are blank, your notice of hearing says you were requesting reinstatement of joint custody with 50-50 parenting time. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right. So tell me, so I'm just going to further procedural history note that on March 14, 2023, you guys agreed to a parenting time order by which you were awarded stepped up parenting time, culminating, ma'am, and you receiving the 16th Circuit schedule with alternate weekends, one night a week for dinner, and alternate holidays as of July 19, 2023. Did you begin doing that as of July, that every other weekend, or no?
Yeah.
Okay. And now you're asking for modification of custody and parenting time. So what has changed, and what's the change of circumstances that you think the court should modify this order to joint custody with equal parenting time?
Well, I'm going to be honest and say that the last time I seen my kids was 2 months ago. He's been holding them from me because there was an incident where I had a couple beers when I was with the kids, and that's that. So now I have not seen them in 2 months.
Okay. And I am going to indicate I do have that March order in front of us, and under that order, it says that if you fail a breathalyzer preceding parenting time, it's to automatically be suspended. So I don't know the response, but I'm taking Mr. Abercrombie has something to do with that. Well, so Mr. Abercrombie, why has Miss Reed not had parenting time in 2 months?
Well, on July 22nd was going to be her first full weekend with the children, and it was a Friday. So I dropped them off, and within a few hours, I got messages from the kids that mom's drunk and they almost got hit by cars. And so I made the police went over there. I've provided a police report. I emailed it to your email from the Fraser police, basically stating that she was, abusing the kids verbally and smelled like liquor, and it's a pretty nasty.
Did you send her a copy of this too?
No, I did not.
Okay, so guys, just so you know, whenever you guys are forwarding any documentation for the court to review, you need to send each other copies too. Okay. Just as an aside, in the future, you got to make sure that if you send me anything you want me to look at, you Miss Reed, and Miss Reed wants to send me anything to look at, she's got to send you a copy. Okay. But so ma'am, I'm looking at a July 21st, 2023 police report from the Fraser police, and indicates that, and what is the name and ages of your two children? Why don't we start there?
Jackson Abercrombie, he's 12, and then Ashton, and he's 6.
All right. So the police indicate, and I'm just going to read this. It's pretty brief in its entirety. It says, the police officer indicates that Jackson advised that Holly Reed had been verbally abusive to him, telling him to go F yourself. It's in its entirety. Jackson and Ashton both advised that Holly was intoxicated and had consumed a bottle, approximately a fifth of clear alcohol like vodka. Upon making contact with Miss Reed, I observed a strong odor of intoxicants coming from her breath, in addition to her slurred speech and difficulty with understanding. Holly was likely unable to care for the children at that time. The children were returned to their father without incident at Miss Reed's permission.
First of all,
do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, I did not drink a fifth of liquor. I'd probably be dead. I had 2 beers. I probably did smell like beer. I would never tell my kids to F off. I don't know where they got that from, honest to God.
So So you take issue with the police officer saying that he felt you were too intoxicated to care for the
I
children?
did. When the police officer left my home, he asked my little son, 6-year-old Ashton, if he would like to stay. And of course, he's gonna follow suit with his older brother because that's what he always does, and he wanted to go.
Mhm.
But they asked me, so I don't understand why you would ask somebody if you thought that I was so intoxicated.
Okay. Do you take issue with the police officer, I shouldn't say cop, pardon my French, saying that you had slurred speech and difficulty understanding what the police officer was saying?
I do not. I felt like they were invasive and rude to me, and I was trying to do my best to just cooperate, and that's all I could do at
Okay.
the moment.
So you disagree with the police report, and it's okay if you do.
I do.
I just want to be clear.
I do.
Okay. So then Mr. Abercrombie sends me some text messages from May saying that there's something wrong with your breathalyzer and you don't know why it was saying you were intoxicated when you weren't.
Yeah, and I didn't get the kids, and I ordered a new breathalyzer and had to pay for it.
Okay. So let me ask this. In this last 2 months, have you taken any breathalyzers over the last couple months?
I mean, no, because who am I gonna
Okay.
breathalyze? I would. I have no problem
Okay.
doing it. I have no problem paying
Okay.
to do it.
Okay. Have you talked to the kids on the phone or anything?
Every
in the
day I
last 2
talk to them,
months?
basically, whether it's
Okay.
text, video call, or phone call.
Okay. So, Mr. Abercrombie, what's your position regarding parenting time? What are you asking the court to do in regards to parenting time? So, guys, there's a few issues before the court before you answer. The first issue is the parenting time that's not happened for 2 months in that order. And then the second issue is Miss Reed's request to modify custody and parenting time. Those are two different issues. So one issue is the denial for 2 months and where we go from there. And then we'll get to the request to modify. So Mr. Abercrombie, what's your position regarding parenting time right now?
Well, I feel that, if I were to let the kids go there, they'd be in danger. I mean, the courts have put safety measures in effect where she's supposed to blow on the breathalyzer before and after. And I mean, I think that police report is proof that she blew and went right home with the kids and decided to get drunk and put their lives in danger. And I feel that
Do you think, how did you, so let me play devil's advocate. Let's say she's drank. How has she put the kid's life in danger? Is the fact that someone's intoxicated necessarily mean that your children's lives are in danger? Maybe if she's driving, but what if she's at home not driving?
Well, I mean, I guess if you were, slightly intoxicated, that their lives wouldn't be in danger. But that in particular day, there was a fair across the street. My children told me they were almost hit by 2 cars because she was so intoxicated, not paying attention. She was at a very busy fair, gave the 12-year-old money and said, "Go get lost. I'll meet you in a half hour." And I don't think that is right. When he came back, his mother was nowhere to be found, and he found some police officers. They circled the fair for an hour before they could even find Holly Reed. And when they first got there, she's yelling at the kids, "You almost got me in trouble," and started swearing at them.
And tell me again and remind me of the date that you allege that occurred at.
That was 7/21, the same day as the police report.
All right. So, ma'am, do you want to comment on that? He's alleging that the police searched for you to help your son locate.
They
you
did.
for
I was in the
approximately an hour
bathroom. All of this is just too much for me. I was in the bathroom. I said, "Stay here. I'll be right back." 10 to 12 minutes. Sorry,
they were
my
gone
kids
when
have
you
never
came
been
out?
alone. And as far as being intoxicated, they're high 24/7, him and his wife, driving my children around, stoned as heck all the time. So am I saying something about that? I mean,
Well,
I don't
know.
understand. What's
I'm
the
listening to
difference?
both of you. Well, we'll take one thing at a time. So, going back to July 21st, how did the police end up wandering around for an hour trying to find you if the kids were told to just wait outside the bathroom for you?
It wasn't an hour, and they weren't outside the bathroom. They were on a bench.
Okay, so what happened? What
I
happened?
said, "I'm going to the
How did they end up
bathroom."
with the police? How did they end up with the police?
He must have got scared or something. I have no idea. And I would never tell my kids to F off. So I don't know where the police get this from.
Sir, did you call the police at the fair? Did the kids call you and then you called the police?
No, the police were already at the fair, and my son went to the spot where his mother told him to meet, and she was not there, and he waited for a long time, and she never showed. So he didn't know what else to do, but he seen some police walking around the fair. So he went running up to them, and the
Okay.
police officer said, "Stick with us. We'll circle the fair, and hopefully we see your mom." And after, quite a long time, they actually located her, and the kids
So
went
where,
running.
so were both kids together or only one was with the police and one was with mom?
Only she had Ashton, and Jackson was by himself.
Okay. And ma'am, where was Ashton? Was he on the bench with Jackson when you went to the bathroom?
No. He came with me.
So where? Oh, to the bathroom. Okay. All right.
Jax is 12. He can sit by himself for 10 minutes, 15
Okay.
minutes at the
I'm
most.
just trying to figure out what was going on here, guys. And how of the telephone call? So, sir, she's saying she's talking to the kids every day for 2 months. You're saying that she shouldn't be able to reinitiate her parenting time? How have the calls gone? Did they go well when she talks to him every day?
No, in fact, I did want to mention that I did tell her I was going to keep the kids until we go to court, because they did instruct me if she broke, the agreement drinking while she
Okay,
had the kids.
okay, I got that. The question is, she said she's been talking to them every day on the phone for 2 months since you've said no more parenting time. Has she been talking to them every day, and have those phone calls went okay?
No, they have not been every day. She does talk to them often, but on one of the days, she had a video chat, and she's literally having a seizure right on the phone while the kids are talking to her. And so I called her mother and said, "Hey, she's having a seizure." And, so the kids are witnessing her having
And what
seizure.
and what day was that?
That I'm not exactly sure, but it would have probably been a week or two after July 21st, so maybe early August.
And did her mom go to her house and talk to you and say what happened after that?
No, her mother was in Alaska, so she was going to reach out to the family and see if they could send someone over there, because Holly said she didn't want anybody there. And I said, well, we're literally witnessing her having seizures. We were a little worried about her. The kids were crying and all freaked out.
It was a
So
mild issue
go ahead,
that I was
ma'am.
having.
So
And what was the issue that you were having?
I was having a
resulted in-
mild seizure, but it wasn't like nothing to freak out about. And it was.
Have you had a seizure disorder for a length of time, a long period of time?
I've been getting it looked into right now, and I have to go back and get more tests done and everything else.
So it's not related to alcohol use or the abuse of alcohol?
It usually is, but I have not been drinking like that. So I don't understand why my body would do that. So that's why I've been going to the doctors and trying to get to the bottom of things.
Are you currently employed or not employed?
I'm doing training right now. I'm training
And
right
what's
now
that for?
to become employed. I have to get certifications and certain things to.
Are you doing that through Michigan Works or another program or?
Yeah, I go through Michigan Works. But no, this
Okay.
company wants to hire me, but I have to do training for a few weeks.
And what kind of work will that potentially be?
It's in a shop.
Okay. And is that historically the kind of work you've done in the past?
I've worked in, it will be quality control. So yeah, I have done that.
Okay. And guys, how far do you live apart? What city do each of you live in? Remind me where each of you lives, city-wise.
I live in Fraser,
I live in Detroit.
the ghetto.
Okay. And when you guys were doing the parenting time, was Miss Reed coming to get the kids, or you were dropping them off? How was that working?
A little bit of
Both.
mixture of both. And
Okay.
I was having a fear because I would disagree with what Mrs. Reed said. When she has a seizure, I would say at least 9 out of 10 times it's because she decided to try and quit drinking. She drinks so heavily. Within the first couple of days, she typically has a seizure. And there have been multiple incidents where I'm dropping the kids off and she's shaking like crazy. And then you're hearing the story. She's had multiple seizures recently. I don't feel she should even be driving with the kids. I mean,
I don't understand how you
Okay.
know my health history and my health issues right now. You know nothing. We don't even communicate at all, period.
I mean, I've known you for almost 20 years and I've
I
seen
know, but we don't
firsthand.
communicate, period, right now, and we haven't in months. I talked to your wife, not
So,
you.
well, let me ask this. Do you call the kids or do you FaceTime with the kids?
I do
Or use some
both.
kind of
And
virtual?
yeah, it might not
So,
be every
okay.
single day, but I do text them every single day. And usually it's FaceTime. Either my son will call me or I will call him.
Well, no, I think the point is, and Mr. Abercrombie can correct me if I'm wrong, is that he sees you, he's seen you on these virtual visits with the kids, and he's familiar over years of whether he feels that you're struggling with alcohol from his personal experience. Am I getting that wrong, Mr. Abercrombie, or is that what you mean when you're saying you're seeing her?
Yeah, that's definitely, you're right.
So what do you think the parenting time should be right now? I mean, so she's saying I've gone 2 months. I'll restart the PBT out breathalyzer.
I'll
What
go
do
pay
you think the
for
parenting
it.
time should be?
I'll do it 3 times during a visit. I'll do it whenever you want to call me and I will blow for you. I have no problem. I have no problem going to the drug place and paying the $12 to go back 7 days to prove to you that I'm not drinking, period.
Well, I feel, I mean,
Well,
there,
so guys, there is a private sober link, but it's about $127 a month. It's a non-quarter. You can get a sober link, but there's a monthly fee. There's somebody outside the door. I don't know what they're here for. And guys, I'm just talking to my staff because there's someone looking at me through my courtroom door. So that would be another option. I don't know if that's less expensive than each time. How much are each one of these tests if you go to a testing center?
I mean, that's only $12. So if I did it twice a week, that covers
Okay.
7 days, 5 to 7 days. So it would show if I had anything to drink,
Okay.
period, for the whole time.
And sir, do you work Monday through Fridays? What's your schedule?
you know, I typically work 6 days a week, and even sometimes I'm on call to work 7.
What's the day that you don't work on usually?
Sunday.
Okay.
And I would like to point out, Mrs. Reed, we decided that her very first week with the kids, we switched it around because of the way things were before versus the new agreement. And her very first weekend would have been May 10th. No, I'm sorry, weekend would have been 5/13 and 5/14, which was Mother's Day. So this is going to be her first weekend with the children. And that's the messages I sent you, showing that she was registering on that Saturday where she was going to see the kids.
Okay.
And then I even offered her, I said, you know what, Holly, get your stuff together. The kids are going to be really upset. I go, tomorrow's Mother's Day. They made you cards and stuff. And you could see the message there saying that her machine's broke at 8 a.m. and blah, blah, blah. That was basically her way of saying still
Okay.
So,
All right. I saw it. So let me say this, and I'm not trying to be mean. So ma'am, it sounds like, would you acknowledge that you're an alcoholic?
I am. I'm always gonna be.
Okay.
Always,
Okay.
the rest of my life.
Okay. So, and I appreciate that, you saying that. So obviously, and I've done this, guys, 25 years. I was a private family law attorney before I came to the court. The concern of the court is that if you have any kind of alcohol problem, that you're addressing it, you're working to stay sober. Sometimes that may not be successful, but it doesn't mean that you don't love your children. The question is if you're using, does it affect you to the extent that it's emotionally traumatic for your children or puts them at a safety risk? Doesn't mean you don't love your children. It's not a matter of love. It's a matter of the realities of an alcoholism, and does it affect them emotionally or put them at harm? For instance, if you're driving intoxicated. So I count on you guys to be forthright with me as to what's going on. It's hard for me. I'm in a hard place when I have Mr. Everett saying, listen, we were together a long time. I know when I feel she's using and she's having these seizures, and you're saying it's not true. That puts me in a really tight tug of war. And the PBT testing is the safeguard. And he has the messages. And of course, you didn't send them to her. She doesn't know what I'm looking at. That the first weekend you're like, I don't know what's wrong with this machine. There's something wrong with it, saying it's blowing that the breathalyzer saying I'm intoxicated when I'm not. You understand that the court may be skeptical of that. And then I have a police report from July where the cops say you're intoxicated, you're slurring and having difficulty understanding them, and you saying that's not true. That puts me in a hard place because one, you're saying, hey, I'm blowing positive, but hey, there's something wrong with the machine. And two, the cops aren't telling the truth. So ma'am, I need you in your heart of hearts, tell me how you are doing. I don't want you to whitewash and say, if you're having a hard time, let me know. And what are you doing to stay sober?
Honestly, yeah, it's not like easy. I'm not going to say that it's like a walk in the park. I'm working with the people at CARE right now.
Do you have a sponsor or
I have
a sponsor?
a recovery coach.
Okay.
That I
When's
meet
the
with
last time you drank?
It's been just like maybe shortly after that incident because I was depressed and that was it. And I've been seeing my recovery coach, going to therapy. I do as many online AA meetings as I can right now with this training.
Okay.
And usually I don't have an issue finding one when I get out of here because there's so many.
Okay. So here's the thing. I'm not a big fan of total suspension of support. It's in this order. If this order had flown by me, we probably would have looked for alternatives. I'm not a big fan of suspending parenting time. I mean, I said support, I meant parenting time because somebody, is it a concern? Then we talk about what we're talking about now. What are the effects? Is it to the extent that the children are emotionally traumatized or scared? Is it to the extent that they're being put at risk? But it's also not good to have zero parenting time. Because, for instance, one thing other than total suspension is supervision. I'm not a fan of parenting time being suspended when there's other avenues such as supervised or now going back to PBT testing and getting back on a stepped up parenting time. I'm not a fan of this no parenting time. I don't think it's beneficial. There's negatives of that as well. So, sir, you've heard her. She's saying, I've been sober now ever since this happened. I'll go back to the PBT testing. What does that affect your position? Not affect it? What are your thoughts?
I feel like I know Mrs. Reed well, and I could tell that she's even drinking right now as we speak.
I'm at work. Are you kidding me?
Okay.
Are you kidding me? This has been too much.
But let me ask this, but do you think if she's been drinking that deprives her of having any right to see her children at all?
I feel that it should be in a different setting to where there's no way she could really endanger them or has to drive, maybe like to consider like a DHS.
DHS is not available to the family court. That's only if you have an abuse neglect case, and that's not what's going on here.
I mean, the courts, kind of told her like these are like your last chances, kind of with.
Okay, I don't know who told you. If another referee judge did that, we don't drop a hammer and say you fell off the wagon and you used drugs or alcohol, and as a punishment, we deprive you from ever seeing your kids again. If anyone inferred that, that certainly was not me. And that is, we don't take that hammer and say you fell off the wagon again and you're struggling. My concern is that if Miss Reed, you're having a problem, you get the help you need for yourself, for your child, for everything. But there's also negatives to totally depriving children of seeing their parent. And it sounds like these kids, your children, either on their own or with advice of other people, have become little reporters. And that's not a bad thing because then they can tell dad if, ma'am, you've been drinking, and they become aware to it. And that's some of the realities of children of alcoholics. They got to be taught coping mechanisms and how to be safe as well. But I'd like there to be parenting time started up again. And ma'am, what is your work schedule? You don't have a work schedule right now?
Right now I'm here. I've been here I work till 5.
And what days of the
Fridays, I get off at 2 if we work. Normally we're not supposed to, but we've been. And Saturday.
But you work Monday through. Okay,
Monday.
You work Saturdays and Sundays? No,
I do not. I'm off.
Okay, you're Monday through Friday.
Technically, it's Monday through Thursday. But right
Okay.
now, we are working half a day on Friday till 2.
Okay. All right. And what's your living situation? Are you living alone? Do you have a significant other children?
I
What's your living
usually
situation?
I've been staying just at my boyfriend's house of 4.5 years.
And
I
everybody
think
in
I
Mr.
have-
Abercrombie, you know her boyfriend if it's been 4.5 years, right? You don't have to be best friends, but you know who that is and where they live.
Yes, they're usually off and on, and I never took them serious because she's usually messing around on them and stuff.
Okay,
Because
that's
he
not
would
my
know. He
question.
knows everything in my life,
That's
right?
not my question. Do you have any issue with her boyfriend?
Yeah, I mean, he's a known felon for counterfeiting money. He's a
Okay,
criminal.
so we're not getting anywhere here right now. All right. So guys, I'm going to do a recommendation in a temporary order. You have 21 days to object. If no one objects within 21 days, this remains the order of the court. Objecting is your right under the law. At an objection hearing, the Honorable Terry Lynn Denny's may uphold my order or change all or part of it, and her decision as the judge is the final say. So the final is my recommendation. 1, on a temporary basis, defendant is awarded parenting time on Sundays from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. 2, defendant shall take a breathalyzer at the initiation of her parenting time, with the results being provided to plaintiff.
Can I say one thing? I'm
Yeah.
willing to FaceTime him, do it in front of my sons, whatever. I will do it like 4 times during the visit. I have no issue with that.
Okay.
Just stating that
Okay.
for the record.
Okay. 3, on a temporary basis, plaintiff shall provide the transportation to affect defendant's parenting time.
Thank you.
Neither party may drive with the minor child in a vehicle after consuming alcohol. And I'm just going to put parens a minimum of 12 hours from consuming, and parens period. I'm going to put 5. The matter of parenting time is referred to the front of the court for facilitation with the front of the court custody department. If that is unsuccessful, parenting time shall be referred for referee evidentiary hearing. And ma'am, asking for equal parenting time would be tantamount to a modification of custody. So I'm going to indicate that. However, when it comes to custody, there's not been a sufficient change of circumstances. So defendant's request to modify custody is denied.
Yeah, no,
So
I
parenting time is
figured
different.
we would have to
Parenting time is
start.
different than custody.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So guys, you both have 21 days to object. However, this is an order of the court at this time. If you don't like it, you guys have to, you have 21 days to object. We're going to email you a copy of this order and the objection procedure. Again, I don't get mad. The judge doesn't get mad. It's your right to object if either one of you doesn't like the order. And at the time of the judicial hearing, the judge, whatever she orders is the final say. Whether she adopts it, changes it, that she's the boss and she's the one who makes the final order. All right.
Okay.
All right. So guys, this order starts immediately this Sunday.
Okay.
I'm going to indicate you're to maintain liberal and reasonable rights to telephone and/or virtual contact with the minor children as well, which is what you've been doing. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys. If either one of you wants to object, you'll get a copy of this order and the objection procedure by the end of the day. If you have procedural questions on how to object, you're welcome to call my office, but we cannot give legal advice. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, guys. You guys are all set. Have a good day, everybody.
You too. Thank you.